Stadium in Austin. It's the Nebraska Cornhuskers against the Texas Longhorns. Let's take a look at the Big 12 today. In action, Colorado trying to hold on out in Lubbock against the Red Raiders. Missouri up at halftime over Iowa State. Baylor K-State just getting underway. And this afternoon, actually 7 o'clock Eastern, it is Kansas in College Station against the Aggies. So the standings in the Big 12 at 3-1. Oklahoma, A&M, and Oklahoma State. Texas sits at 2-2 in conference play. Hello, everybody. Ron Franklin along with Ed Cunningham. Jack Arute down on the sidelines as usual. He'll be along in just a short time. As far as Texas is concerned and Colt McCoy, they have simplified the system a bit. Not necessarily for him, but for a very young offensive line. Lima Swede at wide receiver is gone because of surgery, but there's still a lot of talent there, Ed.
Yeah, and it's a young guy, Jordan Shipley, who is the roommate of Colt McCoy. And I don't think you can discount that, Ron. The communication that goes on between Jordan Shipley and Colt McCoy away from the field, very important. Shipley battled a hamstring, missed the first 2 games of the season. He's finally healthy, and you see the last 2 ball games he's been on fire. Don't forget Nate Jones, Quan Cosby, very good. But you get a feeling Jordan Shipley's the guy that Colt McCoy will be looking at a lot today.
You know, I mentioned just a moment ago a very tumultuous week again as far as Nebraska is concerned. Bill Callahan, boy, he is being besieged from every direction. What kind of mood is this football team going to be in today?
You get the sense that it's a no-lose situation they're in. The folks in Texas feel that way, that they're going to get the best look possible from Nebraska. And I think it's because Bill Callahan has handled this as well as he possibly can. Listen, there is no mystery as what the end of the season may bring for Mr. Callahan, but he has told his players, this is not about me, this is not about the coaches, this is about you. And Ron, these guys have a lot to play for. A bowl game, whatever staff's going to be here next year, they have to play for them for their position on the field, and also the NFL. Older guys better be playing well under duress because the NFL is watching.
Well, standing up in the tunnel, the Texas Longhorns as the eyes of Texas rings forth before this capacity house. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll hear from Jack Arute, and we'll have more as we move toward kickoff time in Austin. Welcome back to Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. Texas just having taken the field. And let's go down to the sideline to visit with the third member of our team.
Greg Davis, the offensive coordinator from Texas, and they've really put this offense into the hands of Colt McCoy. And into the wind, of course, you're starting to get some young guys involved in the running game. You always have Jamal Charles, but Vondrell McGee, a young man that we'll see quite a bit of. And against Nebraska, who has struggled stopping the run, even though this is Colt McCoy's offense, I think you may see some of McGee, Charles, and even Obanaya in here early in this game.
You know, the one person that I think also that you're going to see a lot of today is Vondrell McGee, and you were talking about him in the practice on Wednesday. He got a lot of reps.
And he's a young man who has worked his way. Of course, Jamal Charles has been struggling with some fumbles, had a big one against Oklahoma, so they're starting to get some of their young guys in. And McGee, a guy who has earned his way onto the field because of his ability to, he runs right at the line of scrimmage, does not waste a bunch of steps.
Godalek prepares to kick it off. We're being held up momentarily as we are awaiting the audience of the Texas Tech and Colorado game. There's your weather, 77 degrees. Very, very little humidity. And for this part of the world, that's extremely low. So we'd like to welcome those of you watching the Colorado-Texas Tech game. Ron Franklin, along with Ed Cunningham and Jack Arute. And we are scoreless because we are about to have the opening kickoff. Texas did win the toss, and they deferred to the second half. Absolutely magnificent day in the state capitol. Hard to find a cloud anywhere, which was not the case when we had the K-State game and telecast here 3 weeks ago. That was extremely difficult toward the second half of the ball game.
And of course, 21 points in that game against Kansas State came on returns, punt, kickoff, and interception return. Hard to believe because, of course, the Oklahoma game played in Dallas. This is the first home game since that Kansas State loss. So the Texas fans looking forward to a better performance than what they saw last time the Longhorns were at home.
And it's a day that Mack Brown also, it could be special for him, looking for his 100th victory if he were to defeat Nebraska here today.
He's headed towards Coach Royal, of course, Darrell Royal, who the stadium is named after at 167. And Texas with 10 wins per season in the last 6 years, he's going to continue to creep up that towards the legendary Coach Royal.
Coach Royal is at practice virtually every day. They are extremely close. One of the first things that Mack Brown did when he came to the University of Texas, he certainly embraced the Hall of Fame coach and wanted his input on everything he did. Tonight with a kick, and it's a line drive, and it's going to be taken 2 yards deep in the end zone. Spins off a tackle, fumbles the football, and I believe it came right back up to the return man, Cosby. Now let's take a look at the Nebraska starting offense presented by Best Buy. Here is Terrence Nunn.
Thanks, Ron. At quarterback, we have the real McCoy. Everybody knows he's a great passer, but now he's starting to run the ball. At running back, Jamal Charles, probably the fastest guy in college football. Up front, we have T. Hills, the real deal. Big, athletic, strong guy, hard to get around.
All right, Derek Johnson, thanks very much for getting us off on the right foot there. Texas having received, and they throw to Shipley on first down. Nate Jones, and he'll go for the first down. Now let's take a look at the defensive starters for the Cornhuskers.
Leading the black shirt defense up front, we got the immovable force, Nadakan Sue. And Ron, you better pronounce his name right every time or he's going to be coming after you. Behind them, we got the linebackers, seniors, Corey McEwen and Steve Octavian. In the secondary, we got Courtney Grigsby, our lockdown corner. He's one of the quickest guys on the team. He's got a 42-inch vertical leap.
Straight ahead with this handoff. It'll go for almost 5 yards. We will work really hard at making
Damakan.
Oh, my. Sue. Anyway, McKeon makes the tackle on Jamal Charles.
And the one thing that Kevin Cosgrove, the defensive coordinator, has been working so hard with this defensive front is their gap control. They're a young defensive line, inexperienced, and they tend to get stretched out and give up their gaps too easily. That's really what they've been fighting all year and giving up a bunch of yardage.
Colt McCoy throws it incomplete, in and out of the hands of the receiver, and a lot of would-be officials in the seats right there nearby thinking it was pass interference. The X Factor.
Take a look at the City X Factor in today's ball game. For Nebraska, we talked about it from the start, and we'll talk about it the whole time. They really have nothing to lose. They should just play all out, really carefree, don't worry about mistakes, go forward. And for Texas, I think that they need to max protect if necessary. The one thing that we've seen teams be able to do is get to Colt McCoy, and you mentioned at the top of the show that they simplified some things, but don't let your quarterback get knocked around in this game. I think that might be the only way Nebraska can win.
Blitz, pass is caught right over the middle. Nate Jones makes the reception, but he is well short of the first down. And for the Nebraska faithful who are here, a standing ovation for the defense. Coming into the ball game, they were blitzing only 19% of the time. Well, I think it looks as though they were 38% this time last year. We're going to see closer to the 38% or even more.
And that's exactly what Greg Davis, the offensive coordinator, said yesterday, that because Nebraska has nothing to lose, you can kind of throw out the statistics of 19% blitz, and they were expecting to see 40, maybe even 50 in this ball game.
Hanging spiral into the wind. Fair catch is called for and made at the 5-yard line. Justin Moore with a dandy 47 yards on the boot into the wind. And now let's take a look at the Nebraska starting offense presented by Best Buy. And here is Terrence Nunn.
Thanks, Ron. We're led by our starting quarterback, Sam Keller, also known as a gunslinger. And he's handing off to our all-purpose back, Marlon Lucky. And going outside, also with me, is our wide receiver, Nate Swift, trying to steal all my catches. Going up front is the big guys that protect our gunslinger, with Carl Nix, biggest guy on the team. We've got the quickest feet.
Well, a difficult starting position for the Cornhuskers. From their own 5-yard line, Marlon Lucky, the tailback, and he'll get the handoff on first down. Breaks it open, has 5, and then close to 10 yards on the first play from scrimmage, tackled by Marcus Griffin.
Marlon Lucky, a guy who hasn't gotten a lot of chatter this year because of all the things going on off the field, but Lucky has turned himself into a very diverse back. He's a great receiver out of the backfield, and early on they're going with an inside zone play, and he shows his acceleration.
Quick count. They give it to Lucky again. Has the first down, and he will be stopped after a gain of 3. Now let's take a look at the Texas defensive starters. Here once again is Derek Johnson. Derek?
Thanks, Ron. Up front for the defense, we have big Frank Ocam. You're going to have to put 2 guys to cover him down. Going to the linebackers, Rashard Bobineau is right in the middle. Going to the DBs. At safety, Marcus Griffin. Not as loud as his brother, but he makes a lot of noise on the field.
Okay, Derek, thanks very much. Derek in attendance, obviously, at the ball game today, as that running play will be stopped at the 24, and the Huskers will be looking at a 3rd down at about 6. Marlon Lucky on the carry, and Lamar Houston making the stop. And let's go down to the sideline. Big opening and a 1st down on the carry by Lucky as he goes sprinting off the left side, and Brandon Foster had to come up from his cornerback position to make the tackle. Now, we talked about this when we did Nebraska at Missouri, and that is why they don't run this young man 35 times a game.
And all they're doing is zone blocking, and then he's just looking for the cutback underneath of it. And that's listen, when you zone block like that, all you have to do is cover people up. Let a guy like Lucky, who has shown really good vision, find the hole, and he will.
Roy Halou, a freshman, breaks it over left tackle and out across the 40. That is a gain of about 7 yards on the play, and right now they are gashing the defense of the Texas Longhorns.
Well, and if you've watched Nebraska this year, you've gotten used to Sam Keller. That's Dwayne Aquina, the co-defensive coordinator for Texas, trying to go head-to-head with this offense right now, and you're not seeing Sam Keller, who has thrown for a ton of yards. He has the all-time single-game record of 438 against Ball State, and now because of his own blocking's working, they're going to go right back to it.
Halo hit behind the line of scrimmage. He will fight his way for 1 yard, and now let's go to Matt White. Third down and 2, and Nebraska is not going to pick it up as defensively Glenn came into the line, and he was hit immediately by a massive humanity, and it is going to be 4th down at about a half yard. And it looks as though that Bill Callahan says, nope, I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid here. I don't want to take a chance.
And that time they used a guard pull around the backside instead of just straight ahead roll off zone blocking. They had so much success. Then they take the time to pull someone, and it was the penetration that killed the play by Texas.
Cosby is the deep man. Titchener the kicker. Got a little breeze to his back, and this is a beauty. High spiral turning over and a diving catch at the 11-yard line. So let's take a timeout. 9:44 left in this opening quarter following that 45-yard kick. So Mack Brown looks at a similar situation. They got it a little bit better than what Nebraska had just a moment ago, but they have put Derek Lucky into the ball game as the blocking fullback, and that carry straight up the middle will be very close to 6 yards in the play, as they'll say he is down at around the 17-yard line. Tackled by Brandenburg. Lance, a senior out of Overland Park, Kansas.
It was interesting talking to Mack Brown yesterday in his office about this Nebraska team, and he said, you know, I'd almost rather be playing up there. I think this is a good distraction for the Nebraska players to be able to get on the road and get out of that heat.
And of course, he's not talking about the temperature.
No.
And let's go down to Jack Bondrell McGee, a redshirt freshman out of Longview, comes in at tailback for the Longhorns. He wears number 2. Gets the handoff, breaks it open, has 5, has 10, and boy, count this one off as about an 18-yard gain as he breaks out to the 40-yard line. 18 on the play, and Eisenhart had to come over and make the tackle.
Well, both of these teams early on getting a lot out of little inside zone runs. Again, just watch the offensive line. They're just stepping to their left and allowing McGee to find his hole, and you get the sense why this young man has found his way onto the field. He's really explosive.
Let me tell you something. Loki has made a difference. The big defensive tackle operating at fullback. He is clearing out people all over the place, and one of the reasons that they have some gigantic holes to run through. If you wonder why you see a 90 series number in the ball game, Well, that's Derek Lokey, who was a 4-point student, headed to law school once he finishes his undergraduate work. 2 plays ago, look at this block. Well, he just walls him off there. Well, but he's been flattening people since he came into the ball game.
And I wonder if Dwayne Aquina and Larry McDuff, the co-defensive coordinators, are brought in on the decision of how much Lokey's going to play early, because let's not forget he's a starting defensive tackle. They don't want him to get too worn out.
Well, Tiemann is in the ball game at fullback now, but he throws a good block. But nice pursuit on the part of Eisenhart on Vondrell McGee, and it'll go for a short gain.
And now here we are at 3rd and medium, which you would think is a throwing down. Going back to what Jack was just talking about, simplifying the scheme. A lot of this had to do simplifying the scheme with the offensive line. Remember, you lost 3 guys in the middle of that offensive line to the NFL, and this offensive line trying to figure it out. Right now, let's see if Nebraska does bring pressure and if Texas is able to protect McCoy, which they weren't able to do early and middle part of the season.
So it's 3rd down. The line to make is midfield. Nebraska shows blitz, and here they come, and it's the hot route, throwing a middle screen, and the ball was dropped by Nate Jones.
Well, I like the aggressive call by Kevin Cosgrove. You mentioned coming into this game that Nebraska had only been blitzing 19% of the time. And Greg Davis and the offensive staff at Texas expected a lot more, and that's exactly what they're getting. So hats off to Nebraska coming in and going all out. They've really got nothing to lose, so why not give it a shot?
Justin Moore had a 47-yard punt his first time out. Off the side of his foot, it came across this one and knocks it out of bounds. And let's see where the officials, they move up the sideline right now, and they're going to say out of bounds at around the 28-yard line of Nebraska. So we'll take a timeout. 6:57 left in his opening quarter. That's only a 28-yard. Too expensive to bring the entire unit, but they have a pep band here so that the fellows on the field realize their presence and get to hear the songs that they are accustomed to listening to. Marlon Lucky again lines up at tailback, and this time it's Andy Sand, number 48 at fullback, blocking for him. And a gain of about 5. Let's go back to Jack.
When we talked to him on Wednesday that they were going to be able to run it. I just keep dialing up that inside zone until Texas stops it.
Nothing there this time. It always happens, Jack. We brag on somebody or a group of somebody. And,
the kiss of death. The kiss of death.
Right now, Nebraska hopes that you don't say anything more about those guys. Near the conclusion of today's game, we will select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to the university's general scholarship fund.
Well, now you're in your first must throw down and distance. And with 2 tight ends, kind of unusual. And Nebraska not a spread offense. So you'll see this even on 3rd and 10.
Well, we had movement on the offensive side of the ball. The positioning for Nebraska right now, the student section.
Full start, 44 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, second half.
And the kids right there make a lot of noise, and they are on that hash mark very close to them. So somebody got anxious on the snap count, and 5 yards will be stepped off.
There's one thing that Nebraska has also done. We're talking about right up top. You're going to see absolutely the flinch, but the one thing Nebraska has also done is tried to simplify. This is a team that shifts and moves as much as any team in the country, and they've dialed that back some as well.
Back to throw, pressure, dumps it off. Oh, what a hit at the 30-yard line as Andy Sand caught the football, and then he got racked up by Arakpo, I believe. Brian Arakpo. Did not see him in the K-State game. He was injured in the very first game of the year.
Second quarter against Arkansas State, he got an illegal shot block and hurt his knee. And this is a guy who brings the entire Longhorn defense up. He is a spectacular talent, and even though he's not quite 100%, the coaches talk about how the entire defense rallies around his playmaking ability.
So Nebraska to punt. This time from their own 15-yard line stands the punter. And it's a very good coverage kick again. Very high and long. And the fair catch made at the 19-yard line by Cosby. So let's take a timeout at 5:09 left in his opening quarter. When we come back, Colt McCoy, an opportunity to get his offense here. Jamal Charles checks into the ball game at tailback. He wears number 25 for the Longhorns. McCoy over the middle, complete. Jordan Shipman, Quan Cosby breaks it open across the 45, and he's out to midfield. It's going to be a 30-yard gain, and T.R. Green makes the tackle. First time that Texas has spread them out. No fullback in the ball game, and that made a difference.
And good protection by the offensive line. No blitz that time. We saw a bunch of blitzes in the first couple of series by Nebraska. That time they decided to play coverage. And that's the one thing. If Colt McCoy has time, he has struggled against pressure this year, but if he has time, he will find people against the zone.
It's the longest catch by Cosby this season. Pass complete at the 38-yard line, and this time it's Nate Jones. And give some credit to Colt McCoy as he is moving and has to throw the ball the opposite direction across his body.
You know, I want to go back to what Jack reported from the field about how they've simplified this offense. They've basically given Colt McCoy less to change the play to. He used to be able to change it to anything in the playbook when he went to audible. Now they give him one choice against the coverage that he sees. And it seems to me in the last few ball games, and even in that Oklahoma game, he's just playing more free. He's not in his head as much as he was. We saw him in that Kansas State game.
Option play. Has 5, has about 7, now 8 yards. They'll tackle him at the 30, and it's Octavian who was there to make the stop. That was an audible dig.
And that's the one thing I think of Colt McCoy's game that you overlook, because you were so used to the guy before him, Vince Young, and you think, well, there's nobody who's going to be able to run like Vince, so we don't have to worry about that. But this is a play that they've been able to leave in with McCoy because he runs better than you suspect. You expect him to be just a pocket passer, but he can tuck it and run.
Jamal Charles is the tailback, but he is out to the right side, lined up as a wide receiver. Pressure coming. Thrown complete. 25-yard line, and it's going to be a first down for Texas. Jackaroo. You know, I'm not sure with the concussion problems that he has had that is an instant formula for success, though. In and out of the hands of Cosby. It looked as though he was going to have to grab it with only one hand.
But I like the throw from McCoy. You see a lot of times when a quarterback will try to lead his receiver. Well, Cosby was covered, so he threw it back short into the inside to allow his receiver to come in. And Cosby had to fight through the defensive back to get to it, so couldn't quite get there. But I like the throw. How many times do you see a quarterback try to lead the guy perfectly, and he's covered, and you just either have a guy run into him or a broken up pass? That was a good choice by the quarterback.
Nebraska showing blitz, and here they come. Texas rolls the pocket, throws it complete. That's Nate Jones, and he will step out of bounds at the 21.
Well, it's so nice to see Nate Jones as a senior have such a big year. He's a guy who battled some hamstring injuries, was in and out of the training room, spent a lot of time in the weight room, and actually had gained too much weight. Got himself over 200 pounds because he was spending so much time rehabilitating himself, and it's nice to see him as a senior come out and have such a big year.
It is third down. They needed to take it to the 15-yard line of Nebraska. No score. 3:12 left to play in his opening quarter. Quick, too high at the 15-yard line. Quan Cosby, and that's the worst pass that we have seen Colt throw today.
Well,
let it kind of fly on it.
Yeah, I like the call because they expected pressure, so you throw the quick slant. And McCoy, it looked like he just never got a hold of that ball. And when he went to throw the slant, the ball was not set in his hand. And you're exactly right that that's the first missed throw on the day.
Ryan Bailey comes in to attempt a field goal. It is going to be a 38 yards. The significance with this young man, he didn't know until the last moment last year that he was even going to make the trip to Lincoln. And he wound up kicking the game-winning field goal just like that one right there. The one last year was 22 yards. This one from 38. And Texas takes the lead 3-0. So we'll take a timeout. 3:05 left, opening quarter. Longhorns prepares to kick it off into a slight breeze from the north. very high, and it's going to be very returnable. Being held up a little bit at the 7-yard line is Rickstrom. 20, 25, 30, and finally knocked out of bounds at around the 40-yard line. And let's go back to the story on Ryan Bailey, which of course he is.
She probably didn't want to say much before the kick in case he missed it. Then she could slink out the back and not catch too much heat.
Well, in fact, here is a flashback to that. Lucky on the tote this time. It'll take it for 1 to the 42-yard line.
Well, now Nebraska finding itself not having as much success running the ball on 1st and 2nd down. They may have to start opening it up a bit. It seems that Texas, who's starting to develop some of that depth on the defensive line Texas is famous for, starting to shut that down. And now you're leaving all these big bodies in, and Texas grouped up. Look at some of this one-on-one coverage on the outside.
3rd down. They need to take it to the 47-yard line. Short drop. Keller over the middle and has it complete to Terrence Nunn. And Terrence is going to take it inside the Texas 40 to the 38-yard line. That's good for 20 yards in the pass play. And a nice job by Keller to pick him up at the very last instance.
Well, you hear all defensive coaches when they're getting ready to play Nebraska talking about Sam Keller as a streaky passer. If he gets into a rhythm, he's very accurate. That throw there was right on time, right on the money. And the way you get him out of his rhythm is try to start bringing some pressure.
Halu gets the carry, and the freshman knocked down hard at the line of scrimmage. He'll have nothing, and it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, we'll take a look at the last year and a half for Sam Keller. Has been very interesting. Of course, he was at Arizona State back in 2005. Was their starter until he had a wrist injury. Rudy Carpenter came in, played very well, but then Dirk Cutter named him the starter on August 18th, and then decided, because of some players coming in and saying they wanted Rudy Carpenter to play, to put Carpenter in, and Sam decided to transfer to Nebraska and sit out last year.
Straight ahead with this running play to around the 34-yard line, and it's Norton who makes the tackle. Jack
needs to use all the tools in his arsenal,
and he'll need them here today. 3rd down. They need to take it to the 28-yard line. Blitz coming off the corner. They throw the other direction. It is complete. Now, where are they going to mark him down? Looks as though he is going to be marked down short of the 1st down. And I think Purify had the catch.
And I think you go for it. I think you're in that distance. You're on the road. We talked right at the top of the show. The X factor. Play loose. Play free. Go for everything. I think this is a no-brainer for Nebraska to go for it. And Nebraska has called a timeout to discuss it. Well, he caught it right at the sticks, and I wonder if he's moving backwards.
Purify also has to be careful, because the rule says if there is a collision and it creates space, it is pass interference.
Yeah, no, he definitely stuck his arms out, didn't he? But Purify should have taken one more step. That's a get to the sticks and come back route, and he needs to take just one more step beyond, so that when he comes back to the ball was thrown correctly by Keller. But Purify just needs to take one more step. Now, I would not get fancy. Don't pull anybody. Go straight ahead. You got a fullback in the game. It's an isolation, but don't let penetration stop this 4th down.
Cody Glenn is the eye back. They fake it to him. Want to throw, and the ball is caught for the 1st down. Inside the 20 to the 19 is Andy Sand, the fullback. That's 10 yards on the 3rd down and 1 play, or 4th down and 1, I should say.
Well, you can see Texas all committed to the run. And you're going to get out to the flat, and they had this covered. They really did. Excuse me, that was the fullback that came out into the flat. And you can see that piece of paper fly up in the air. That was Dwayne Aquina, the defensive coordinator, saying, guys, we've got it covered. Run under that ball and knock it down.
So that is the end of the opening quarter. With our score, Texas 3 and Nebraska. All righty, one of the really good series as far as rivalries in the country. Situation here. 1st down, Nebraska. 8th play of the drive for them. Castile, the running back. I don't know if he was waiting for a block or what, but he slowed down, and the second he did, pursuit was all over him, and he only gained about 4 on the play. It looked as though he was going to have a lot more than that.
Sure felt like it. Boy, there was a lot of push on the right side of that offensive line. And for Nebraska right now, relying heavily on the running game, and this comes right back to our conversations with Sean Watson and Bill Callahan on Wednesday. They felt like they could get the running game going against Texas.
Oduego made that last tackle straight ahead. Tackle is missed as they were coming with the blitz. And it was Roy Miller, big number 99, who is a senior out of Colleen, made the tackle for the Texas Longhorns.
Exact same play out of a little different formation that time, where the backside guard pulls, and now you're in that 3rd and 4 territory. The way they've been running it, that last throw was almost picked by Kendall. I think they may run it again.
So 3rd down, the 9-yard line is where they need to take it to. Going to throw a fade route into the end zone, caught out of bounds. That is Swift, who did an outstanding job of going up high for the football.
Well, no decision time here. I think you kick this one. I thought it was the right decision at the end of the first quarter to go for it on 4th down. But now you got to get out there and send Alex Henry in to try to get the points.
It's going to be a 31-yard attempt. Alex Henry, ball is down, and he got it. And we're tied at 3 apiece at the 13:41 mark of the second quarter. Welcome back to ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Best Buy. The Nebraska cheerleaders on hand, and you can see nothing but beautiful, clear blue skies behind them. Weathercast for today, a high of 77, and it's not supposed to, I guess it was a 77. Then it's supposed to start dropping from there and cool off to a very comfortable situation with low humidity. Donato prepares to kick this one off into the wind. His kick is being held up a bit. It's going to be short. Taken on the run at the 16-yard line. Out of the 30 and then close to the 35. And now it's time for Crystal Benaya comes into the ball game at tailback for the Longhorns.
Nebraska did not have
timeout.
Their personnel right,
Nebraska.
so they needed to take a timeout.
With him when he came in. This is the best starting field position for Texas today as they scrimmage from their own 35-yard line. McCoy with the audible throws back the other direction and just a little bit overthrown at the 40-yard line. Quan Cosby, the intended receiver, and Murillo did a nice job of going up and contesting him on the play.
Well, and Coach Osborne has said that no decisions will be made until the end of the season on what happens with Coach Callahan and his staff. But you're already starting to see the shakeout. Some of the recruits that Coach Callahan had landed and gotten verbal commitments starting to back out because of the uncertainty in the program. And so to me, it becomes a timing issue. I think decisions need to be made sooner rather than later for recruiting.
Second down and 10. Jamal Charles on the draw play, and he's going to have about 7, maybe 8 yards on the play. And let's go down the sideline.
Not the glowingest of assessments and endorsements, was it?
No, I don't think so. Colt McCoy is going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage. He will not have the first down as Brandenburg does a nice job defensively in making the tackle. So it's going to be 4th down, and Texas able to do nothing with that really good field position. You know, for the good of Nebraska, and I have a feeling Coach Osborne will do just this, they've got to act and act immediately when the season is over. I mean, the minute the season is over. Otherwise, they're going to lose an entire recruiting year, and that is devastating.
And depending on when that is, if Nebraska wins 2 games, you could be in a bowl situation. Then it becomes a question, do you make the change before the bowl or make your decision before the bowl? And I agree with you. I think you should, because of that exact reason. It's too late in bowl season to be making those decisions.
Well, the punt is going to go out of bounds at around the 7-yard line. And we ask Coach running play will go for nothing. In fact, he may have lost a yard on the play. Roy Miller again coming up to make the stop. A lot of times Miller is always playing behind Derek Loki, but today they are both in the ball game at times, which makes for two really big, powerful guys to have to block on the inside.
And they put Loki out actually at defensive end some during this game because Nebraska brings all of those big bodies in, the H-backs, the tight ends, the fullbacks, so you will see Loki sometimes lined up as a defensive end.
2nd down and 12.
Timeout, Nebraska. Their 3rd and final timeout of the half.
So we'll take a timeout. 11:14 left in the first half. Texas 3 and the quarter. Welcome back to Austin, Texas. 2nd down and 12 for the Cornhuskers as they scrimmage from their own 5-yard line. They're tied at 3. Keller, quick pass over the middle, and that'll be a short gainer to around the 12-yard line. Jacobert down to recruit because if they have to punt, they're punting into the wind. Pass is caught, and they're going to have the first down. Sean Hill, one of the H-backs, made the reception and barely got it, but that's all he needed to take it, to get the first down and move the sticks.
And Sam Keller now 6 for 7 on the day. And watch how quickly Keller is going to find his tight end, just hooking up right there. Watch how quickly he gets this ball out. It's right there when Hill turns around. Keller's right on time with those 3- and 5-step drops.
Lucky breaks off one tackle, goes across the 20 to the 21.
Looks like Lucky may have.
Yeah,
he's hobbling off that.
But I'll tell you, if you're a Longhorn fan, a little bit of a surprise on this one. Aaron Lewis is in the ball game, injured in the Oklahoma game, and a lot of people thought he would not return this season. Number 95, the defensive end for the Longhorns. Reverse it out. Oh, what a hit on Nate Swift in the open field. That is a really good job by Adewego. Ishi Adewego, a redshirt freshman out of Denton, Texas.
Let's take a listen to this shot. That was excellent read by Adewego. The play went away from him. He was playing the backside safety, and as soon as Swift got it, he was right there. Excellent recognition, and Nebraska continues to find itself in these 3rd and medium to almost 3rd and longs, and it seems they didn't want to throw every time.
Swing pass. This is Ayler at the 20, at the 25, has the first down. Marcus Griffin on the stop, but it's a gain of 10 yards.
Well, Halu, a freshman, and how often do you hear coaches talk about freshmen not being very good in the passing game? But that's exactly why Halu's in the game, is because he is so good in the passing game, not just as a receiver, but also in pass protection. So we see Castile, a freshman, and of course with Marlon Lucky on the sideline, we're going to see more of these two guys with Castile and Halu.
And let's go. Sand comes in, replacing Lawson. And they give it to Castile, and nothing doing. And let's check in with Matt Weiner. There are those who would say that they went over 500 last week, but had it taken away on a touchdown that should not have been. Ayler stays in the ball game at tailback, number 10. 9th play of the drive, and they throw it out in the flat to him. Incomplete pass picked up by Texas, but that is a forward pass as Arakpo is the man who was applying the pressure.
And Arakpo did an excellent job of reading this, jumping up and tipping this ball. What a dynamic player. Just enough to knock it off its course. And Arakpo, you see why the coach is so excited to have him back.
Very, very athletic. And in fact, one scout told me But there's a guy that played in North Carolina, played a long time with the Giants, that he has the same abilities as. That's saying a mouthful. Tichenor with the punt. This is a good kick into the wind. Fair catch is called for as a flag comes down. Actually, if he did call for the fair catch, what I thought he did, that's a delay of game.
And you've got a flag over on the other side of the field from the 3 flags you see in your screen at about the 45-yard line, which I believe would be in the neighborhood of some type of hold or block in the back.
That's way over in front of the Texas bench, and the play was over on the far hash. So there's laundry literally from one end of the field to the other. Cosby got up holding his face mask, like that should be one of the calls. Well, we're told now by the truck that he did not call for the fair catch. So then one of the 2 flags on the far sideline could be face mask, but the one here on the near side next to the Texas bench. Nope, he did not. Yeah, there's the face mask there.
That was Ricky Ternars. Crowd getting a little restless, wanting to know what's going on.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding on the offense. That penalty is declined. Face mask on the return team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, the face mask not on the return team, had to be on the coverage team.
I started to say it has to be on the coverage team. I don't think they can turn that one down. We'll take a break. We're tied at 3 with 7.5 minutes left.
You can hold. You know, if you're the kicking team, you can obviously hold, but it felt to me like Greg Burks, the referee, maybe had gotten a little confused at which way the penalties had gone, and so we do end up with an offset situation. And luckily for Nebraska, because that was going to be great field position for Texas.
So 4th down and 7 now, and Tichenor will do it all over again. And Cosby looking up into a very high sky. Very bright. Low driving kick. Cosby, fair catch is made at the 25-yard line. So it's a 40.
I would ask the question.
Well, Jamal Charles almost broke that thing after being attempted to be tackled, and a late flag comes in, and now a couple of flags. And you can see Nebraska signaling that it's going to be against the Longhorns.
After the play, personal foul, 79 of the offense. 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's Tony Hills.
Most unlike him.
Yes. Well, I mean, they were tangled up, and he threw his hands up to block him. Yeah, may have thrown the elbow was why they called it. Yeah.
So the 15-yard stepped off. Tony, when he came out of high school, one of the most highly acclaimed tight ends in the country, had a knee problem. They thought he may never play again. Now he's going to make a lot more money on Sundays playing at tackle. McCoy goes down. He is sacked and a flag comes in. Zach Potter is the man who got him, number 98.
Well, Texas has just not gotten into any rhythm at all offensively, other than the one drive that resulted in the 3 points.
Face mask, number 98 of defense. That's a 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, and Texas catches a break as they call Zach Potter for the 5-yard incidental face mask. And he did. But my point was going to be with Texas not really getting into any rhythm. Everyone has talked about Nebraska's struggles on defense. Right now they're allowing these guys to hang in there. They haven't established much of a running game at all, and Nebraska still look like they're playing with a lot of enthusiasm. They haven't taken any of the fight out of them yet.
Intercepted. Caught by Cosby. I beg your pardon. He came down with it.
Well, there was a lot of contact on that side. Cosby working one-on-one on the outside, did an excellent job working against Murillo, who's drawn coverage on that side, and Cosby did an excellent job. Everyone here in the Texas program talking about how Cosby has just made play after play this season. Looked like Cosby may have stepped out of bounds, but because he was forced out, able to come back in as long as you establish and make the play.
Jamal Charles, he's going to be knocked down for about a half-yard loss. Steinkuhler, Ty Steinkuhler, a junior out of right there in Lincoln. His dad was an All-American defensive player up there, went on to be a first-round draft choice of the Houston Oilers.
Dad also won the Outland Trophy, one of the many trophy winners at Nebraska. Lots of hardware in that building.
What they're going to look at is you know, being forced out of bounds.
Well, he is out. It looked to me like he was out, but it was the defender that pushed him there, and he established himself back in the field of play. I think that is a catch. I think it's right to take a look at it. It did look like for a moment Quan Cosby's foot may have stepped on the line and been out of bounds, but as long as he comes back in, as long as he was forced out by the defender, which it looked to me like Murillo had forced him out. The referee Marks had been buzzed before that first down play, so that play did not count. And now for Bill Callahan, not only upset that they allowed the play, but they stuffed that first down play. So now for Texas, instead of 2nd and long, they're at 1st and 10. I don't blame Bill Callahan for being upset. It looked like that play got off before they stopped it. As long as the referee was buzzed before the snap, though, then that play does not count. And now they may be talking about what time is on the clock, because
well, the down marker still shows first down as well.
Well, it is 1st down and 10, because if they buzzed it, then that one didn't count. I think that's what, not only the fact that they allowed the catch, but Bill Callahan upset that it's not 2nd and long.
McCoy going to go long. Incomplete. Billy Pittman was the intended receiver. It was Green who was there covering. Nebraska's taken a real chance, but it is working. They are putting so many men in the box. That time they hit 9 men at the line of scrimmage.
Well, the one thing that Nebraska has been pretty good this year on defense, they've been taking their lumps in the run game, giving up over 300 rush yards in 3 different games. They've been pretty good in their secondary. And right now, other than a couple of zone openings, when they're matched up man-to-man, they've been running stride for stride. So the coverage has been very good for Kevin Cosgrove so far today.
Now McCoy possibly with an audible. And there's Charles. And here's the chance that you take when you put that many men at the line of scrimmage. where this young man should run is straight ahead, because when you're like a 4-3 sprinter, you got nobody that's going to catch you.
Yeah, if you get to that second level, the linebackers and those safeties miss. And he almost breaks that last tackle, and there's nobody home because there's so many guys down around the line of scrimmage. But I don't know that I change if I'm Kevin Cosgrove, the defense coordinator of Nebraska. You're making Texas earn everything with 5:08 left in the second quarter. Hard to believe that Texas only has 3 points, but I think a lot of it has to do with the aggressive play call.
And let's check in with Jamal Charles, tailback again. Here they jump into that 8-man front. Cosby. McCoy is going to hold on to it, and he will be pushed out of bounds at around the 31-yard line. Has 6 tackles officially on the afternoon. He has had a very, very good ball game as we look at a 3rd down, and Texas needs to take it to the Cornhusker 22-yard line. They show blitz, and here they come. Pass near sideline, caught complete, and that will be enough for the first down at the 21-yard line by Quan Cosby.
Well, you live and you die by pressure. This time the offensive line for Texas did a very good job of picking out an all-out blitz. And Zach Bowman over there with one-on-one coverage on Cosby, and Cosby does an excellent job of running him off and cutting it off. Difference there, remember the last time when Nebraska Purify didn't get enough depth past the sticks, that time Cosby did.
So it's first down, Longhorns. 4:48 left until halftime. We're tied at 3. Nebraska comes with the pressure again. McCoy steps up inside, and he'll make a couple of yards out of the play. Zach Potter, the junior out of Omaha.
I'm with you, Ron. You mentioned earlier how much you want McCoy running around. You go back to that game against Kansas State when he suffered a mild concussion. Didn't look like he was going to even be able to play in the second half. There were some questions about whether he was going to be able to play the next week against Oklahoma. And when he gets out in the open, unless there's open turf, I would be coaching him up to slide.
10th play of the drive. You see the spin move by Charles, and then he's taken down on a very sure tackle by Asante.
A couple of names we have not heard. Jordan Shipley, who we thought we'd see a lot of, and Jermichael Finley.
Nothing from Finley.
No, and Finley, who had that monster game against Oklahoma. And this is that territory where you look to maybe slide him into the seam and see if you can't get him towards the goal line.
I'll tell you, with the men that they are putting on the line of scrimmage, I wonder if he's having trouble getting out on a route.
Yeah, he may be staying in. You're exactly right. Here he is lined up right here. Maybe look for him to try to split that seam.
Timeout called by Texas.
Timeout, Texas. They're first of the half.
Well, Jim Brown's not in the top 10. I can't wait to see what that top 10 is. Better be some pretty good ones.
Now Nebraska backs off. They showed pressure. McCoy comes back, throws for the end zone. It just throws it away. Now the coaches are saying he went across the line of scrimmage. Doesn't matter. If you come back, still a legal forward pass.
And I'm not convinced he did go beyond it. I mean, he was close, but it looked to me like he caught himself right before he did and wisely threw that one away. Now let's see if he did in fact. The blue line right there. He wasn't even close. Well, you know what? I think the coaches, Nebraska coaches, saw that stick, the first down marker, and thought maybe that was a line of scrimmage. No, it was 3rd and 7, not 3rd and 10.
Bailey with a 34-yard attempt. And Ryan's kick is going to be wide left and no good. And Smokey sounded anyway. And let's check in here. Our situation. Bailey misses a short one, and we're still tied. Middle screen, and the tackle made immediately, and that's going to be no gain at the 20. Frank Okan was holding on to the receiver for dear life.
as tough as a year as it's been for Nebraska on defense, that was a huge win for them. They weathered the storm of a big, long Texas drive, made enough plays to make them force the field goal, had enough good coverage, didn't give up any big runs. They had the 110-yarder by Jamal Charles, but Nebraska, you feel hanging in here, and this is exactly what Mack Brown told us yesterday that he was fearful of.
Lucky, and Marlon is not so lucky on this play. He's going to be dropped for a 2-yard loss by Derek Loki.
And Nebraska Rakpo's the guy who's going to mess it up to start. Wow, look at the quickness getting inside of Nix. Even though he doesn't make the tackle, he allows the pressure to come. And now Nebraska with no timeouts, playing it very conservative, trying to melt this clock a little bit so that if they do have to punt, Texas is going to have a hard time trying to score. I can see why they'd be conservative down in their territory.
Throws it out of the backfield. That's Lucky, and Marlon Lucky still on his feet, and he'll take it out to around the 38-yard line. Bobineau on the stop, and that's good for 19 yards.
Excellent block downfield by Nate Swift. As the ball comes out, watch the inside receiver come get an absolute blow-up block when he sees that this ball gets picked up. Here he is right here. Excellent job peeling back on the linebacker and making a big hit. Nice job by Nate Swift helping out the running back.
So from the 38-yard line, pass to the near sideline. It is caught, and stepping out immediately is Purify.
And now Sam Keller, now that they're away from the line of scrimmage, they're needing to hurry up, and this is a good job by Sam getting people moving, because now that you're getting near midfield, now you don't have to be conservative. Now you can take some shots, and Sam's having himself a really nice first half.
Well, it was Bobineau who was close enough to it. Boy, he stared him down and waited forever to throw the ball. They burned a lot of the clock on that last play, and with that sequence, at least the incomplete pass stops it at 56.
I think Nebraska thought that they went out of bounds on that play,
yeah.
and I think that it kind of got him out of sorts, because that did take too much time to get off that second down play.
Keller 11 of 14, 94 yards. Lucky open side of the field, turns the corner at the 30, at the 25, and is finally tackled at the 20-yard line by Dion Beasley. And boy, the angle of pursuit by Texas for two defensive players was really not very good.
No, they got sucked up in there.
Yeah.
I think that they were thinking inside zone play, and this becomes the old student body, right? You see Sean Hill out there, the H-back pulled, the guard pulled to that side, and Beasley and the safety had horrible angles. I think they were expecting inside run. Good play call by Nebraska.
Boy, that timeout that they called that they did not need right now.
Full start, 67 of the offense.
Is devastatingly bad.
First down.
Well, and now you've got to start thinking about, now that you're already in field goal range, well, you've hurt yourself with the penalty, but you're still in field goal range. If it's not near the sideline, it's almost better to get an incomplete pass. Either throw it beyond the sticks in the end zone or near the sideline, or don't throw it at all.
Coming up on the Capital One halftime show, John Saunders, Craig James, and Doug Flutie in our New York studio. They'll have scores and highlights as Halu comes into the ballgame at tailback for the Huskers. Keller over the middle, incomplete, and the ball, I believe, was tipped, intended for Terrence Nunn.
And I think it was Brian Arakpo. Again, excellent job by Arakpo tipping this ball. I believe his second tip of the game. It was a zone blitz. No, I don't think he got it, but that ball just thrown behind Terrence Nunn.
Texas comes with a blitz. Pass over the middle, wide open, touchdown, Nate Swift. yards on the pass play.
That was blown coverage. Nate Swift in the slot just was not identified by Texas. And give a lot of credit to the defense of Nebraska. They weathered the storm of a long Texas drive and held them to a field goal try that was no good, and that pumped up the entire Nebraska sideline.
Henry with the extra point, and he's got it. And with 36 seconds showing on the clock until halftime with no timeouts, after Nebraska had unwisely just burned a timeout, but we couldn't really even tell why, and they still, maybe it forced them into more of a hurry-up situation.
Well, and they were playing it conservative because they were down. And the safety just got hung up on the outside. That was a cover 2 zone where the safety has the deep half to that side, and he got hung up on the vertical route to that side. Excellent job by Sam Keller looking him off, and the safety, Ottawego, is just late getting over there.
Tell you something. The play that Texas really has to fault themselves over. 3rd down, and they throw to the running back Lucky. He turns it into a 17-yard gain. They were expecting to have to punt the football. There, to me, that's the one that changed the entire drive.
Well, Nate Swift, the guy who just catches the touchdown, was the guy who threw the key block on the linebacker who was running over to get Lucky. So it's nice that Swift was able to finish up what he started, because if he doesn't make that block, I think they are punting the ball.
I agree with you. Granada will kick it off. And I would imagine this one would be on the ground or very close to it. Nope, kicks it away and into the wind. Like the last time, it's going to be short. From the 15 is Cosby. And Cosby's going to be wrapped up at the 23-yard line. Now let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
I still think you may try to get something going.
Draw play. It's Jamal Charles. And it looks as though they're just going to run it out. Nope, they're going to call a timeout to stop the clock. 22 seconds.
Well, I think you're far enough out. If you were at about the 15-yard line, your own 15, I think you'd let it run out. But with 2 timeouts and out near the 30, I think this is the right decision. Go ahead and use that timeout. See if you can't get one more play out near midfield and then give it one heave-ho by Colt McCoy. Why not take the shot?
And let's check in with
32, Ed, at the beginning of this telecast.
McCoy just has to throw this one away, and McCoy got knocked down hard after he delivered the ball by Zach Potter.
Zach Potter, one of the most improved defensive linemen. And now if I am Texas on this 3rd down, I think I may, with Nebraska no timeouts, I may just take a knee. Right now, I think it's regroup time for Texas. Nebraska has outplayed them a little bit here physically in this 2nd quarter, and I don't know that I would want Colt McCoy to take another hit before we went into halftime.
So 18 seconds showing on the clock until halftime. 3rd down. A little counter play goes to Jamal Charles, and he'll pick up the 1st down, I believe, as he steps out of bounds just beyond the marker. Murillo is the guy who got back over there to help push him out of bounds.
Well, if Charles did not pick up that 1st down and went out of bounds, Texas may be in a punting situation. So, again, I just think you maybe want to run this thing out. I don't know the upside right now with 12 seconds. If something bad happens, some kind of interception that might get returned, I think you may want to sit this one out.
Openaya's in the ball game. He is a guy that they have one trick play with anyway. But they throw it to Jermichael Finley, and the first time that we have called the big tight end's name. 7 seconds showing on the clock. It's going to be a gain of 12.
And Texas is going to hustle up to kill it so that they have time for one more play before they have to use that tight end, or the timeout, excuse me.
And that's what they do. So only 1 second goes off the clock.
Well, and with 6 seconds, if you get a quick out route, you can run 2 plays. You know, if you're going to throw it towards the end zone, I think you want to try to get 5, maybe 10 more yards before you do that if you're Texas.
Well, they have dropped off. They, meaning Nebraska. Tier Green is all the way back to the 15-yard line and still retreating.
And here's the 3 wide receiver side.
And McCoy is going to be sacked at the 42-yard line by Pulaski. That's the second time that they've gotten to him, and we are at halftime.
And Nebraska, that stop where they forced Bailey to try the field goal that he missed, got a lot of energy out of that stop. 3-man rush, they get a sack to end the half.
So our score at halftime is Nebraska 10 and Texas 3.
I would make